Russian man like inside the dark, call me Bill Snatcher. Just the brother for the rapture. I hang glide, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a garden and start killing. It's manifesting. The God's work like appliances, dealing in my sleep like a lot.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generations discussion. And today, I wanted to talk to you guys about the ominous line where Momoshiki flat out tells Boruto not to make any promises that he can't keep when he tells Hinata he's going to return home to her alive. Once this happened, Momoshiki tells Boruto that the coming calamity will be so great that Boruto himself will cease to exist. And when Boruto tries telling Momoshiki to stop the cap because Boruto knows that he can't resurrect using his body anymore, Momoshiki says that that's irrelevant because Boruto is going to fall into a despair so great that he willingly gives up control of his body in order to escape from the darkness that awaits him. This has led to some fans wondering if we're actually going to see Momoshiki cash in on those words, or will this all just be talk? In my opinion, I strongly believe we stand a strong chance of seeing Momoshiki hijack Boruto's body, and I'll go a step further. I think this time it's going to be different than all the times we saw in the past where he took control of Boruto's movements because of the dominant personality of Momoshiki ended up emerging until Boruto took back control. Now, I'm not going as far as to say that this will be like what we're seeing currently in Chainsaw Man's manga with Asa Mitaka, the new character introduced, and the War Devil, where the War Devil has 50% of Mitaka's brain under her control. I'm not going that far, but I do think we're in for some kind of a twist in that vein, and I think it's going to be because Boruto willingly gives up control to Momoshiki, like Momoshiki stated. Again, I don't think it's going to be 50% control, but what I do know is that right now, if you go on the Naruto Explain Teespring store, we got 20% off using the promo code PACK, and we got brand new merchandise that I've ordered and got samples on to make sure the quality's there. I'm talking shirts, I'm talking hoodies, I'm talking tank tops, which I'll leave links to down below, as well as on the merch shelf underneath the video that you're watching right now. The Emo Eyes merch and the Boy Who Lost Everything merch, you can get 20% off using the promo code PACK, and I'm gonna keep that merchandise available until we get to September 13th. But going back to the Momoshiki thing, I don't think we're going to be in a situation where he's getting 50% control. I think Momoshiki's words just changed the entire conversation. That is huge, and I don't think that people are paying enough attention to that because this would be a completely different circumstance than all the other times we've seen this prior. When Boruto lost control to Momoshiki in the past, it was either due to a life or death situation or his chakra is low, like what you saw in the Boro fight, where if Momoshiki didn't take over, Team 7 and Boruto be killed, or it was a situation like the Ishiki battle where Boruto ran out of chakra, Momoshiki took over and he went all stabby on Sasuke's Rinnegan. Even against Code, Boruto was making zero progress in that fight, but the pills that Amato gave him were having a strong reaction to his body. Those times were each involuntarily. This time it would be by choice, and I think this is what makes Boruto and Momoshiki a deadly combination right here. If Boruto gives up control by choice in a scenario where Boruto's chakra hasn't been completely depleted to low levels like what we're seeing, where Momoshiki can only perform a few jutsu that Boruto can use here or there. Instead, if Momoshiki is in possession of Boruto's body with potentially higher chakra levels than what we've seen before, and he has total consent from Boruto, that's going to be a game changer. With possessions like this, typically it tends to have there being a dividing line somewhere set in place, where the host's willpower is what gives him a backdoor to fight off the spirit that's possessing them. If Momoshiki's words are correct, then Boruto's spirit will be broken enough to a point where he gives up on living long enough for Momoshiki to take control. However, that's not the strongest bit of evidence we have to look at either that shows that this time is going to be different. What we're seeing here right now with Boruto is a parallel to what we've seen with Kawaki in the past. Just as we saw a gradual buildup over the course of a few volumes in the manga that led to Kawaki taking back the Karma Seal, I do believe we're in the process of seeing a gradual buildup to Boruto giving up control to Momoshiki, which lines up with the fact that ever since Boruto and Kawaki met, their strong resonance through karma has been a constant theme that has pushed them not just in their development through the karma itself, but also as a whole altogether. In the aftermath of Ishiki's coma leaving Kawaki's body, and while Naruto and Sasuke were fighting Ishiki, Amato was already planting the seeds to make Kawaki want that power again, stating that he makes the best choice that's available to him at the time and the choice that's in his best self-interest, and he transitions that over to the coma, saying that Kawaki's coma that he hated so much is what made it possible to defeat Ishiki despite the slim chances of Naruto being able to bring him down. It was a long-term play being set up by Amato here to first make Kawaki see that the coma, while he viewed it as a curse, ended up providing a chance to stop Ishiki, all while making Kawaki feel useless because at the time he wasn't able to help in the battle, at least at that time when Amato was saying it to him. Notice how Amato clearly stated the Hokage and company, separating the two, because Amato had already clocked Kawaki's obsession with Naruto and how Naruto holds a strong place in Kawaki's self-interest, and that's likely something that he might have picked up on in conversations with Jigen, because Jigen likely would have passed on that information on how Kawaki had that strong response when Naruto's life was in danger. We're seeing Momoshiki make a similar play with Boruto that Amato did to Kawaki to eventually push him to a point where Momoshiki gets what he wants. Momoshiki in this chapter confirms something that we as a community have only speculated on up until now, which is that Momoshiki sees everything through Boruto that Boruto does through Boruto's eyes, but he hasn't chosen to manifest himself spiritually before Boruto until recent events like the code battle, Boruto's death, and what we just had happen now. He's playing the long game after having gathered data on Boruto's thumb screws, weighing which of them will be the easiest to undo in order to break him to the point of Boruto giving up total control. Just as Amato knew that Kawaki's desire to protect Naruto would ultimately cause him to reawaken the coma. Both men have used a tactic of manufactured despair on the two vessels whose coma strongly resonate with one another, and I think that this is intentional writing by Masashi Kishimoto, giving both boys similar situations to see how each responds, similar to what he did with Naruto and Sasuke in Naruto's manga. Now, if we continue with this thread, this means that Sasuke might be the one putting the crosshair, since Sasuke is to Boruto what Naruto is to Kawaki, minus the obsession, which means that Boruto might seek control in order to protect Sasuke, or potentially even protect Sasuke's daughter, which is also fitting that the two main characters of the original manga are being used to stimulate the main character of part 1 in Boruto and the emerging main character in Kawaki at a time where Naruto's being removed from his co-main character status, which Boruto told us is gonna be the case in Boruto chapter 1, where he said the beginning of his story, i.e. part 1, is the story of me and my dad, but after that it becomes Boruto's story. However, should this happen, we've already seen a way to bring Boruto back, and it was given to us in this chapter itself, and it actually goes back to something I said years ago over here on the channel, which is that Boruto and Sarada being the first set of children fathered by the transmigrants who broke the cycle of hatred are going to be the beings who have a strong connection to the power of love, which is a yin to the yang of the cycle of hatred. This chapter again built on that line of thinking about a cycle of love, because Mitsuki says regardless of what happens, Boruto will still be Boruto. Boruto's downfall was foreshadowed with Momoshiki saying that he would give up on living, and honestly the only thing that would reasonably make him do so is endangering the bonds with those who he loves, but those same bonds with someone like, say, Sarada, the childhood friend who he grew up with and is also the other child fathered by a transmigrant who broke the cycle of hatred. That will be one of the ways to break Momoshiki's hold when that eventually happens, which ultimately makes sense because the concept of love is foreign to an Otsutsuki. The only full-blooded Otsutsuki who we saw grasp this concept was Kaguya, and we saw what happened in that anime filler you guys know I'm not a fan of, where she experienced the beauty and the bitterness of love, and it caused a change in Kaguya. Love from the bonds Boruto has might be what breaks Momoshiki's coming hold over Boruto, which explains why in the time skip, despite everything that's happened, Boruto still has hope inside his eyes when he proclaims, "I'm still a shinobi." That being said, I'm curious to see where you guys fall on this discussion. While you think that over, consider watching these other videos you see on the screen right now.